So what's your name?
Sheerie Edwards.
And how long have you been cycling?
I've been cycling since July 2020.
Are you a COVID cyclist?
Yes.
Sheerie came upon the scene a little bit after we started our new cyclist orientation, which was something designed to help COVID cyclists get some basic orientation in terms of group riding, pace lining skills. Sheerie, however, quickly went past the basic teachings of that class, even the intermediate things that we're doing, and went on to start doing some very fast group rides. Okay, and what made you decide that you wanted to get involved in road cycling?
I wanted to enhance my skills. I wanted to gain more mileage. When I was on my hybrid, I was doing about 40 miles a day, and I wanted to...
Wait, 40 miles a day? Like 40 miles every day?
Almost, yes.
Oof, okay. Are you competitive?
I would say so, yes.
So does that mean we're going to see you racing? Because I know you're doing some secret training.
No. I got first.
Shut up! Say that one more time.
I got first.
Oh shit. Go ahead. Oh Jesus.
Did you get it on the sprint?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is my cycling pal, Sheerie Edwards, aka Pocket Rocket. You're going to find out why in a minute. Sheerie is the 2022 Florida State Criterium Champion, a feat she achieved in just a little bit over 2 years of being involved in the sport of cycling. Now, what's really amazing is that once Sheerie decided to get involved in racing, it took her 8 months to achieve 14 podiums, 5 wins, that one state champion, and during that period of time, she also had 2 category upgrades. Amazing, right? Now, what's truly remarkable about this story is that Sheerie did all of this while still holding down a full-time career without diminishing her involvement in her community, and Sheerie races against stacked fields without a team. So since we initially had that talk over 2 years ago, I called up Sheerie and said, hey, it's time for us to get together and chop it up again about what's been going on with you and your passion and your love for the sport. But specifically, I wanted to see where she was at with racing. So where are you at right now with your cycling?
Where am I right now with cycling? I am... That's a good question. I'm riding, of course, having fun on my bike. Race season has ended for me, so I won't start back racing until probably February, March next year.
Okay.
2024.
Okay. How did the race season go for you this year?
The type of races that I was doing this year, I was signed up for some stage races.
Oh, wow.
Which require a little more than just, you know, maybe 12 to 15 hours on the bike for a crit race.
Right.
You know, training for a road race, a time trial, and a crit that could happen, you know, within a stage race. It was a little more difficult than just focusing on crit race.
And if you're planning to do a stage race, does your training change?
It does. It does. I feel like there's more longer rides, I'll say. When training for crits, endurance is important, but not so much important as it is when you're doing a road race. Because road races could be, you know, 75 miles.
Right.
Where you have to have the endurance to last, not just, you know, going 20, 25 miles per hour for 75 miles, but knowing how to adjust to the surges, the attacks, the different terrain. So with road races, you also have to consider the different terrains. Crits are usually flat.
Yep.
So you have to, you know, cater your training to prepare you for that as well. As opposed to crits, you can kind of get away with, you know, doing group rides, doing some efforts, maybe going on the velodrome, the track, you know, a few days leading up to the race and still be successful. So not to say that crits are easier than road races, it's just the type of training that it requires is different.
So like on this typical 15-hour week that you would do, how do you break that down in terms of the days that you ride?
So weekends are usually the longest days on the bike. So I try to do at least 4 hours on the bike on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And then during the week, I try to squeeze in at least 2 recovery rides and then maybe a tempo ride as well during the week. So that's pretty much how it's split up. But during the week, it's like 1 to 2 hours because of work.
Yeah.
Like when I started cycling, it was during the pandemic where I had ample amount of time.
I got time every day to
Yes,
ride.
to be on my bike. I can go out in the morning, I can go out in the evening, but being back at work full time, and having to adjust to still fit in my training and still be able to have fun on the bike was, I would say, a challenge this year as opposed to the previous year.
Now, why racing? What made you decide that you wanted to race?
I just really wanted to give it a try. Like I went to one of the local races in Doral,
Yeah.
and just to kind of check it out. And I've heard other people talk about racing through group rides.
Yeah.
And I was going to check it out, and I saw the women category. I was like, oh, I could probably do that. It don't seem that bad. So at the time, Jime Bridges was training me, and I kind of hinted to him. I was like, you know what? I think I might want to go out there and give it a try. And he's like, I already knew you were going to give it a try.
So you started getting coached before you started racing.
Yes.
Okay, now that's unique.
Yes. And again, it goes back to me wanting to be feeling like I'm prepared. Like I never like going into a situation and feeling like I am unprepared. So I talked to John about it, and he was like, okay, we can, work on some things. And I would say like what John did for me was amazing. Like it opened my eyes to what training could be.
Yeah.
It helped me to unlock a new level of strength, fitness, motivation, courage.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I did do my first race in Doral, it was super hard, but I was able to hang in there.
Yeah.
I didn't place, I came top 10, but I didn't make podium. But I felt so accomplished. Like I just felt like, whew. The first one is over. Now what's next? I'm ready for the next one.
Okay.
And I was looking forward to training again.
I think that's awesome. And I notice also you do a lot of rides solo,
I do.
or most of your rides are solo.
They are. I would say if I'm riding 6 days out of the week,
Yeah.
5 of those days I'm going to be by myself.
Okay, now tell me why.
Well, a couple of reasons. First reason is when you're on a structured training plan,
Yeah.
it's a little difficult to focus on your targets, hit your numbers when you're in a group ride.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, it also helps to train your muscles when you're doing these efforts to be able to do the effort and recover, do the effort and recover, do the effort and recover without necessarily having to depend on a Peloton.
Okay.
So if you find yourself on a breakaway or solo break, you know your limits, right?
Yeah.
Some people, they only train with others where they're only used to just sitting in, or they don't even know what their limits are. And if they end up, say like on a 2-man break or 3-man break, they're probably going to be one of the first to fizz out because they haven't trained their body to withstand those stresses.
Right.
And I would say the third reason is I just like riding my bike. I really do. It brings a piece of calmness. I meditate a lot on my bike.
Mm-hmm.
Get up very early in the morning. I just go out and ride, and it just clears my head for the day. And not to say I don't like riding with other people, but it's certain things you enjoy doing that brings you comfort.
Right, and that's one of them.
And it is one of them.
Now, what's your favorite type of ride to do? I know we've established solo is number one, but what would be your favorite in terms of like group rides? Do you like the big group rides, the big Peloton style group rides we have here, or do you prefer like a smaller ride with 5 to 8 people?
It depends.
Okay.
So normally on days that, say if I want to break up my 4-hour, Saturday or Sunday, I would ride from my house to, say, Weston. That's about 20 miles, the route that I take.
Okay.
I can do a group ride in Weston. That ride could be about 40 miles. So by the time I'm done with the group ride, that's 60 miles already in the saddle.
Okay.
Then I ride back home solo.
Okay.
That's another 20 miles.
So you got a good 80 miles
So
in.
that's a good 80 miles in. So for that particular day, I prefer to ride with a big group because it's a lot of miles. And how can I say? Like, I'm able to withstand the base miles going up.
Yeah.
The intensity, because the group rides here, you know, B group, their pace, their rolling pace is 23 to 25 miles per hour. Now, I don't think anywhere else on earth is B group 23 to 25 miles per hour. So, and then I'm able to still ride back home at a decent pace and get base miles in.
Yeah.
So with that particular type of riding, I do prefer a bigger group.
So when you say you ride back home at a decent pace, what's that pace?
My zone 2.
Okay, so that would keep you, well, depending on the day and the wind conditions and stuff like that, you're 18, 19, 20, or a little bit more?
More like 17, 18.
17, 18, okay. So you're just basically spinning it out at
Just
that point?
spinning it out.
Okay.
That's it.
Now, about your bike, you're a specialized person.
I am. I love Specialized.
And how do you like the new SLA?
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. This thing gets up. It's quick. I love it. So I haven't had an opportunity to race it yet.
Okay.
But I have on a group ride, you know, out sprinted a couple of people, beat them to the line at the end of the ride. So that felt pretty good. But yes, I love this bike. Before I had the SL8, I had the SL7, but it was just the regular Specialized model.
Yeah.
So I knew that the SL8 was coming out and I wanted to go with the S-Works model, which is lighter and stiffer.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got this beauty here.
Are you a bike geek?
Oh, not yet.
What are you waiting for, Sheerie?
Not yet. But one of the issues that I have, being, well, I'm not going to say an issue, but a challenge, being 4'11", it's hard to find a frame that fits me that's not going to overstretch me.
Yeah.
So,
you need a shorter top too.
Yeah. So that's one of the main reasons why I stick with Specialized. And it just happens to be an excellent brand.
Yeah.
But they make bikes for me.
Yeah.
This right now is a size 44. Most brands start at 49 and not a 44. So
with Specialized, their smaller sizes, are those like a woman specific geometry?
No.
For the shorter torso or no?
No.
Okay. It's just a 44.
It's just a 44.
So now tell me what you do for a living.
So I am a college professor. I teach anatomy and physiology as well as biology at the local college.
Do you tell people that you're a cyclist?
I don't tell people I'm a cyclist, especially my students, but they find out anyway.
Really?
Yes. They find out. They, you know, because the internet is so accessible.
Yeah.
And you just search my name and you know, an article on, you know, Sheerie Edwards cyclist comes, and then I might get a student come after class like, oh, you ride bikes, I do too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Might run into somebody at a right. Now, most of us have a really cool story about how we got involved in cycling, and Sheerie is no exception, but I realized that I didn't know that story. So after our brief spin at the park, Sheerie and I agreed to meet up at a local cafe so that I could flush out the rest of her story. I learned a lot. How long have you been cycling?
I started cycling in 2020 during the pandemic.
Okay.
Yes.
And how did you get introduced to cycling?
So it started just as a way for fitness. So many people don't know I was actually home recovering from foot surgery that I had during March, and the pandemic started March of 2020.
Okay.
And I was, during the recovery process, I was having issues with circulation and swelling in my lower limbs. So I would try to go and walk to help, you know, improve the circulation in my leg. But walking, in my opinion, it hurt more, and it left me feeling very, very sore. And so I actually had an old mountain bike in my den area. Okay. And I was like, I'm just going to try to ride that, and it actually felt much better. So But I didn't do that until maybe June or July, months later.
Wow.
So I was still like kind of like not mobile, still recovering from foot surgery. But when I started riding the bike, it helped to improve the circulation in my foot and my leg. I felt better. But then shortly after that, maybe about 2 weeks, a week after riding my mountain bike, I purchased a hybrid because I was like, I think I like this. I gained these extra pounds from not doing anything, not being fit, not going to the gym. So I purchased a hybrid shortly after and started riding a hybrid bike.
Okay.
And then
That's a yellow hybrid.
that was a yellow hybrid.
Okay.
And then from there, I think one day I was riding on A1A and I saw like a group of cyclists with their road bikes, and I was like, "What's that?" Like I enjoy, I'm enjoying this riding my bike daily. But I see you all have a different setup. Like your handlebars are set up differently. You're going much faster than I'm going,
faster, yeah.
with less effort. So I started looking into a road bike, and then I purchased my first road bike in July of 2020.
In July of 2020.
Yes.
Okay. And you started, right after that, you started group riding. What was that experience like for you, going from riding by yourself to help rehab your foot to actually coming out and group riding? What was that experience like?
So I started doing some research on road bikes, and then I found a road bike that I wanted to purchase. But then I also wanted to find like a group of people that were riding to kind of introduce me to road safety, teach me like the basics of riding a bike. Like, I like to be prepared. Like I don't like going into a situation where I feel like I'm just there, So that's how I started doing group rides. Met some people that I'm still friends with today, and that's how the group riding kind of.
Okay. Was it? Now you and I spoke about this before, but I wanted you to share. Cycling is the first time that you've done like a physical activity that's competitive, right?
That is competitive, yes.
What a place to start.
Yes.
In 3 years, well, how long after you started cycling did you start racing?
I would say about a year and a half after purchasing a bike, I entered my first race.
Okay, and what was that experience like?
It was an adrenaline rush. It was amazing. First, I was just very, very excited to do it because it was something that I never imagined doing. First, I never imagined riding a bike, enjoying being a cyclist, and then racing my bike. But being in front of my family and friends for the first time, or cheering for me, they knew that this was a different experience for me, and they were just excited to see me out there competing. But racing against an open category. So in Miami, they don't split the categories up. All women race together.
Right.
So if you're Cat 1, you're Pro, you're Cat 2, you're Cat 3, 4, and 5.
One big super people.
Everyone races together. So you have this big mesh of skill set, of race knowledge. So I was the novice. So I wanted to make sure I didn't crash. I didn't want to make anybody else crash.
Two good goals.
Yes.
Two good goals. Don't crash and don't take anybody else out.
Exactly. So I have, those things in my mind. I also have, I need to make sure I stay with the group. Okay, we're not breaking through turns. Okay, I see someone is attacking. Be ready to get out the saddle and sprint to catch the next wheel. So many things going through my mind on that very first race. And I can say I was happy when it ended. I was able to breathe. I think my heart rate probably averaged about 195 the entire race. Like that's how much adrenaline was pumping through my
your
body.
system.
Yeah.
You do already have a crazy high heart rate.
I do. My max heart rate, the one that I've reached so far, is 212.
Oh my gosh. Don't try this at home, kids.
Yes.
And did you win that first race?
I did not. I placed top 10. I got 9th, but I didn't win. I didn't podium until the second year of me racing. So the first year of racing, it was just going out and experiencing, having fun, kind of getting the feel of the race scene. But year 2, since I had already had a taste of it, I made sure I had a coach and I came back with vengeance. I was like, okay, you all got me, first year I was a novice. Then after that,
My second year, that's when I, from Cat 5, I jumped all the way to Cat 3 just by, you know, competing and winning the races that I was entering in.
Wow. Are you very I know you're competitive, but are you also very goal oriented?
I am.
Like you write them out and...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That keeps me going. You know,
I think
having
that's
a goal
so important.
to be able to reach it means a lot to me.
Yeah. But, you know, the key thing, which you said, is that you write down your goals.
Yes.
A lot of times people have a goal and it's like in their head. And
No.
it's like...
I write everything down. Even when it comes to racing and cycling, there's a particular threshold that I want to meet, or FTP. I try to push myself to get it, and I don't get too down on myself if I fall short.
Okay.
But I do know that I set a goal, and this is what I am trying to attain.
Okay.
When it comes to races, I look at the race calendar, the USA Cycling race calendar, and I sit down and I write down which races that I think I want to do.
Okay.
Races that I know that are going to be A races, meaning races that I should be in top fit shape to do, and that I hope to, at least podium in. And then you have some training races that, A and B races as well. So I write down all of the races that I want to do as well. So those are goals, because you want to make sure that your training, your fitness prepares you enough to be ready when those races come.
Okay.
So yes, I write down everything.
Okay. You are a Rafa brand ambassador?
Yes.
Okay. And do you represent other brands or just Rafa?
Well, I am a brand ambassador for Rafa, and I also with Science and Sport, which is a nutritional brand
that I use.
Yeah, I love the gel, especially Beta Fuel line. I use that for all of my rides, especially my endurance rides. I make sure I have my Beta Fuel gels, and I also put the powder, the electrolyte powder, within my bottles to stay hydrated during my rides.
Okay, so Rafa and Science and Sport.
Yes.
And not Specialized yet, right?
Not Specialized yet.
Come on, Specialized.
Come on, Specialized.
Get with it.
I'm good for it.
Brand ambassador right here. Sheerie represents big time.
Yeah.
Well, Sheerie, we've been talking about doing this for a while. And I thank you for your generosity and your time and sharing your knowledge and your passion for the sport. And I think a lot of people will actually benefit from this, especially being a source of inspiration for young women getting involved in the sport in terms of what you can do. Like, there's literally no limit. All right? So thank you so much for taking the time to share with us.
Thank you.
All right. All right, that's a wrap. I hope that was enjoyable to you. This is truly one of the most enjoyable projects for me to work on. I enjoyed not only having an opportunity to revisit with Sheerie, but also having an opportunity to learn some new things about her. I'm actually going to post a link in the description to Sheerie's YouTube channel. You can go over there and subscribe to it, and also watch her race footage, which is a lot of the stuff that I shared throughout this video. As always, I want to take the opportunity to thank you guys for supporting the channel, not just by watching the videos, but by liking, commenting, and sharing our videos, and also subscribing to the channel. All right. As always, our aim here at the channel is to inform, instruct, inspire. Be blessed.